Most businesses have data backups. And because those backups are usually just running in the background, it's easy to assume that everything's covered. But there's a big difference between having a backup and knowing it's a backup you can actually recover from. If you've never tested a full restore, you may not know whether your files are usable, whether your systems will come back online correctly, or even how long recovery is going to actually take. Today, I want to walk through 5 ways that skipping backup testing can turn an ordinary IT problem into a serious business disruption. Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Canet. I am CEO and founder of Eternal Networks. And here at Eternal Networks, we believe in empowering businesses with the knowledge that they need to succeed in today's world. So every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, I go live on all of our different socials to discuss different topics around technology and cybersecurity to help educate and empower others. At Eternal Networks, we're dedicated to creating safe and secure environments for businesses and people to thrive in doing what they love, what they're passionate about. And we believe that helping to educate others on technology and cybersecurity is a critical part of our mission. At the end of this live stream, I'll be answering live questions from the audience. So if you have any, throw them in the comments at any point in time, and I'll cover those at the end. All introductions aside, let's get on to today's topic. I want to start with an important distinction. A backup tells you that data was copied somewhere. That's what the definition of a backup is, right? Data was copied somewhere. A successful restore tells you that you can actually use that backed up data if something goes wrong. And those are two very different things. You can have a dashboard or a report that tells you that backups completed successfully every night, every hour, whatever frequency, right? Everything can look green across the board. But until you actually restore the data, open the files, bring the servers back online, restore the applications, and verify that everything is actually working, you're still making a very big assumption. And you don't want to test that assumption for the first time during an emergency. So let's look at 5 problems that backup testing helps you to avoid. And the first one is ransomware. A common assumption is that if ransomware hits, you just wipe your affected systems, restore your backups, and you get back to work. And ideally, maybe that is what happens. But attackers understand that businesses depend on backups. And that means that the backups themselves have become targets. If the backup data is accessible by the threat actors and has been compromised, or if you've never tested the recovery process from beginning to end, you might discover during an attack that you can't restore the systems that your business depends on. And then there's another piece that people sometimes overlook, and that's recovery time. Let's say you expect a system to be back online in an hour, but when you actually perform the test recovery, it takes 3 hours. Those extra 2 hours matter. Employees may not be able to work, customers may be waiting, and commitments can get delayed. Testing gives you a much clearer understanding of what recovery time actually will look like before you're put under pressure. The second risk is permanent data loss. And cyber attacks aren't the only thing that can cause it. Hardware failure, accidental deletion, software corruption, natural disasters, and other unexpected system failures can all put important information at risk. We recently had a client who, an outgoing employee, deleted a bunch of files on his way out. So there's all kinds of ways that you can lose data. And if nobody has tested your backups, once again, you're making a big assumption that the right information is being captured and that it can be restored correctly when needed. But what happens if you need a critical file and discover that it wasn't part of the backup or that it wasn't backed up correctly? Or you restore the file and it won't open because it's corrupt, or the application comes back maybe but is missing important information. At that point, there might not be much you can do, in all honesty. Regular testing gives you an opportunity to actually open restored files, run critical applications, and make sure that the information your business relies on is actually usable. The third problem, and I think this is one of the trickiest because you probably won't see it happening, and that's silent data corruption. Not every backup failure produces a big red warning sign. Problems can quietly build for days, weeks, months. Files can become corrupted. Configurations can change after software updates, and important information can stop being captured correctly. Everything may appear normal until somebody actually needs to restore something. That's why testing isn't just about preparing for a major disaster. It's also a way of checking the health of your backup environment, making sure it's doing what you want and when you want and how you want. I would much rather discover a gap during a planned test on a normal Wednesday afternoon than during a critical outage when everybody is waiting for a system to come back online. When you test regularly, you give yourself time to find the problem, understand it, and fix it without the pressure of a real emergency. All right, number 4 is downtime. Obviously, downtime costs money. But there's another issue that can make an outage much worse. Imagine something fails and your team suddenly realizes that nobody has ever gone through the restoration process before. Now you're troubleshooting the original problem while also trying to figure out the recovery process. And that's not where you want to be. Something that should take 20 minutes can stretch into hours. Employees are waiting. Customers might be affected. They might be waiting. And everyone involved is working under pressure and stressed. Regular backup testing changes that. The recovery process becomes familiar. Your team understands the steps, knows what systems need to come back first, and has a much better idea of how long recovery should actually take. Most importantly, they know what a successful restore actually looks like. It's similar to any other emergency plan. You don't want to be reading the instructions for that emergency the first time when the emergency is happening. The fifth risk is compliance. Depending on your industry, backup and recovery may not simply be an IT best practice. There might be data protection, retention, or recovery requirements that your organization needs to meet. That can be particularly important in industries dealing with sensitive or protected information, including healthcare, finance, and legal services. Simply saying, yes, we have backups, probably is not enough. You may need to provide evidence that your recovery process actually works to maintain compliance. Testing gives you something much stronger than an assumption. It gives you documented evidence that your organization has gone through the recovery process and verified the results. If a restore fails and protected or important information can't be recovered, the consequences can extend beyond downtime. You could potentially be dealing with compliance issues, financial penalties, audits, or even legal liability. So backup testing can also play an important role in demonstrating that your organization is taking data protection and recovery seriously. Your backup is really only as good as your last successful restore. And that's the one idea I want you to remember from today. It's that a backup sitting in storage is not the same thing as a tested recovery process. The real question isn't, do you have a backup? The real question is when the last time you successfully restored from your backup? Because organizations that recover well from outages aren't really the ones with the fanciest technology. They're usually the ones that are prepared. They've tested, they've documented the process, and their people know what to do when something goes wrong. So if backup testing hasn't been on your calendar, I'd encourage you to change that. Don't wait till an actual emergency happens to discover whether your recovery plan works or not. And if you're listening to this and thinking, wow, I'm not actually sure when we last tested our backups, or if you're not confident about what would happen if you had to restore everything tomorrow, I'd really encourage you to find out. And if you're not sure where to start, we'd be happy to walk you through it. We'll go ahead and post on there a link for you to schedule a one-on-one if you'd like to chat about that or any other technology need that you might have. I truly enjoy having conversations with other business leaders. We could talk about what you have in place today, where you might have some gaps, and what a realistic backup and recovery plan should look like for your business. There's no need to wait until something goes wrong to have that conversation. All right, let's go ahead and see if we have any questions from our live audience today. I'm not seeing anything posted, so hopefully that means I explained it well enough that you all understood. If you do have any questions, if you're watching this after the fact, you can throw them in there. You can send me a DM, and I will definitely answer and get back to you on those. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this. We hope that you found this information helpful, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Whatever platform you're on, right? Give it a smiley face, whatever emoji you prefer. Leave a comment with any questions or thoughts that you might have. We really look for your feedback to help us to create content that's valuable to you. Also, don't forget you can subscribe to all of our channels. You can hit those those bell icons so you don't miss any updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to help you to navigate the world of technology and cybersecurity. Once again, if you need any further assistance, you can always reach out to me via DM, or all of our contact information for our organization is on site on our website at itnet.works. Hope you have a wonderful week.